The Philippines consists of a large number of indigenous ethnic groups living in the country. They are the descendants of the original inhabitants of the Philippines. They were not absorbed by centuries of Spanish and United States colonization of the Philippine archipelago, and in the process have retained their customs and traditions. According to the United Nations, there are approximately 400 million indigenous people worldwide, making up more than 5,000 distinct tribes. Together, we are one of the largest minority groups in the world, spanning over 90 countries. While indigenous peoples total only about 6% of the world's population, we represent 90% of the cultural diversity. But with over 7,600 islands in the Philippines and three major island groups, it's no wonder that different cultural practices, traditions, and groups are present in the country. Among the archipelago's existing communities, there are indigenous tribes who have managed to keep their cultural identity despite the non recognition and marginalization they're facing. Tribes such as the Igorots, which are also known as mountain people, is a tribe of distinct people who came from the northern provinces of the Philippine archipelago. The term Igorots also signified that they were a tribe who could not contribute to any technological innovation to society. There are different types of Igorot, which are the Bantok, Ibaloy, Ifugao, Isneg, Kalinga, and Kanakane. Each of these tribes practice five burial customs, which are Paunawa, Bangil, Bayao, Mummification, and Sangadil. An example of one would be the Bayao, a sort of eulogy in the form of singing. The person usually doing the Bayao relates some stories to how the person was in his life and the way they knew the person based on their experiences together. After some stanzas, all those gathered make a chorus with him. Among the Igorots, the event of death is a very special occasion which is of value and has to be observed. As much as possible, even now in the times of the diaspora, all the close relatives have to be gathered and are expected to be around when someone in the family had died. The family should not be missing in the list of important relatives to be present on times when someone has passed away. Offering of animals are also to be done with a number of people present during the time of vigil and wake. Not only are the direct relatives and friends welcome, but almost the whole community is welcome to join the bereaved family during their process of showing their last respect to the dead. The Ilongot tribe, known as a tribe of headhunters, inhabit the southern Sierra Madre and Caraballo Mountains on the east side of Luzon. They believe that the creators of the universe are two quarreling brothers. However, their names have been lost due to Roman cataclysm introduction by the Spanish in the 16th to 19th century. Some people just refer to them as Cain and Abel, but it is not their true names. It is tradition in the tribe to whoever would long for a wife would require to have a head from the family of the chosen wife as proof that he is capable in raising and defending his future family. The Ilongot tribe belief system and religion revolves around supernatural beings, which they classified into helpful and dangerous ones. To them, disease usually arises from spirits licking or urinating on a victim, although harm may also come from deceased ancestors who long for the company of the living, or from guardian spirits of field and forest who feel abused by humans in some way. Thus, in order to heal the illnesses, they hold curing ceremonies, which is then preceded by shamans. Healing rites first invoke the spirits and then expel them by manipulating plants. They may also entail threatening the spirits, blowing them away, steaming them out, baiting to wash them out, beating them out, or drinking to purge them out. One can also burn or beat a contagious plant in order to eliminate the symptom. Rites may also turn a sickness back on the spirit that had caused it. Furthermore, at the time of death, the elongates are buried in a sitting position, whereas if a woman died in childbirth or has experienced a violent death, her hands are tied to her feet because they believe it would prevent her ghost from roaming. The Lumads, just like the Igorots, consist of 18 different ethnic groups. They reside in Mindanao where they live together peacefully. We'll be focusing on one ethnic group of the Lumads, which are the Bland people. These people have deities like Melu, their creator, in which they offer sacrifices to. There are known female priestesses known to be called almas who offer sacrifices to these gods and spirits. Sacrifices and appeasements are required in events causing great damage and danger as it is known to be associated with the doings of evil spirits. Now we move on to the Bajau, who also resides in Mindanao. Unique to their cultural rituals is the concept of life and their relationship to the sea. For example, as a childbirth ritual, a newly born infant is thrown into the sea as members of the clan dive to save the newborn. They do this because they believe that the kids will be able to swim earlier and better than the rest by performing this practice. And last but not the least, the Manyans, Sweden farmers. Their spiritual beliefs are related to their means of livelihood. Agricultural rites suggest the importance of farming and the belief in spiritual beings or forces that can influence a good harvest. The Mangyan world is controlled by complex of omnipresent spiritual forces. These spirits are the good and the bad. They greatly influence their everyday way of life and are colorfully exemplified by their rites and ceremonies. To an observer, these may be irrational or look strange, but for the Manyans, these are important aspects of their life. The Kalagparay, a sacred female spirit, a caretaker of the rice spirits, must be appeased to ensure a bountiful harvest. It is for this reason that specific rituals are conducted in every phase of rice cultivation. Attending to the dead is important to the people of the Mangyan. However, they do not leave their dead in the grave for long, digging up the remains of loved ones in an unusual revival ritual that itself is slowly dying out. We have just covered the tip of practices done by a number of tribes in specific areas in the Philippines. We ought to have the capacity to acknowledge and show appreciation to what these tribes do to sustain their lifestyle and convention. There are numerous critics to their ways. However, we should hold this in high regard as this is the clan's way of life. Traditions, belief systems, and practices are rampant throughout the land, and by having these customs, we believe it helps enhance self control and discipline, promoting valuable social behaviors needed for a community to strive. Other than that, it gives them a purpose and a meaning, bringing definition into their life and the perspective they hold on to.